What's up everybody, welcome to this gentle yoga flow. My name's Ollie, thank you for practicing with me. And today is really going to be about slowing down and gently moving the body so that we can prepare our bodies and our minds for some breath work and a guided meditation at the end of the practice. So if you're brand new to yoga, this is a great class for you. We're not going to be doing any strong holds or any fancy transitions. But if you're not brand new to yoga, and maybe you've been doing some of my other classes here on the channel and you're feeling a bit sore and a bit tender, but you still want to do some kind of movement today, then this is a great class to use as an active recovery. If you enjoyed today's class, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you want some more diverse, longer, dynamic practices, then maybe go and check out my Patreon by clicking the link in the bio below. I've got a cushion here with me because we're going to be doing a lot of seated work today. So if you want to go ahead and grab a cushion now, something you can put beneath the hips, maybe you've got a couple of yoga blocks as well, they might come in handy today, then feel free to go and grab those now. And then when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and get started in a comfortable seated position in the center of the yoga mat. So if you've got yourself a pillow or a couple of yoga blocks, maybe create a nice seat beneath the hips. You can sit in hero's pose on the heels, you can cross the legs. It's completely up to you. But wherever you are, sit up nice and tall, close down the eyes, place the hands down on the legs wherever's comfortable. Hold the head and the chest up high as you embody that benevolent quality of nobility. Feel the support from the ground beneath you. And for a moment, reconnect to that foundation as we start to ground down and center ourselves before we move into the physical aspect of the practice. And then all together, let's take a deep inhale through the nose, fill those lungs all the way up to capacity. And then exhale, sigh it out. 2 more times. Inhale, fill the lungs. And then exhale, release. 1 more time for the power of 3. Inhale. And then exhale out the mouth, just let it all go. Seal the lips, and then start to bring your attention to the breath, moving gently in and out through the nose. The oxygen flows in on those inhales. The carbon dioxide moves out on the exhales. As we begin to set up a steady rhythm of breath that you personally feel like you can maintain throughout the practice. And you might even start today's class by asking a question of the heart. What does my heart need from this practice? So often within the busyness of life and the constant overstimulation of modern society, all we need is a bit of quality time to ourselves to strengthen that relationship between the body and the mind. Slowly start to blink open the eyes. And then as you inhale, we're going to circle the hands all the way up to the sky. Fingertips reach up to the ceiling. Maybe you can bring the palms together. Get nice and long through the sides of the waist. And then on an exhale, slowly start to drop that right hand down to the ground, maybe coming onto the fingertips. And reach the left hand up and over the head for a side bend to the right. Anchoring down through that left hip. And then reaching the left shoulder and the left fingertips away from that anchor. And then just notice the breath. And how as you inhale, maybe you can channel the breath deep into the left side of the rib cage, deep into that left lung. Slowly release on an exhale, come back through center. And then inhale, reach the hands back up to the sky. Same thing on the opposite side. Exhale, release the left hand down to the ground. Reach the right hand up and over the head for a side bend to the left. And then as you inhale, try to feel that expansion beneath the right rib cage as you channel the breath deep into that right lung. Nice work, everybody. Exhale, slowly release. Inhale, circle the hands back up to the sky. And now we're going to turn that into a little flow as we connect breath to movement. So take an inhale here. Reach those fingertips up. And then exhale, drop the right hand down to the ground. Left fingertips reach to the right. And then inhale, circle the hands back up to the sky. Exhale, drop the left hand down, reach the right fingertips over to the left. And then inhale, circle the hands back up, maybe encouraging some movement within the spine. One more time, exhale, side bend to the right, left fingertips reach. Inhale, circle those hands back up. Exhale, drop the left hand down, reach the right hand over. And then inhale, reach the fingertips up to the sky. Hold here for a moment. And then as you exhale, begin to twist the torso to the right. Gently bring the left hand down to the outside of the right knee. Bring the back of the right hand to the tailbone. Take an inhale, pull that chest up nice and tall. And then exhale, start to peel that right shoulder and the right chest open. But just be mindful that the twist is being initiated from above the diaphragm. So think the upper half of your back. Slowly release. Inhale, circle the hands up. Exhale, twist to the left. Right hand to the outside of the left knee. The back of that left hand comes to the lower back. Inhale, pull the chest up tall. Exhale, start to peel that left chest open. Gaze comes over the left shoulder. Try to push the back of the left hand into the lower back and feel a nice stretch within the shoulder. And then exhale, release. Inhale, circle the hands up. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Prayer pose in front of the chest. Beautiful work, everybody. From here, we're going to make our way into a tabletop pose. So remove your bolster or your pillow. Place it somewhere within arm's reach because we're going to need it later. And then slowly find your way into a tabletop pose. So the shoulders above the wrists, the hips above the knees. And then on your next inhale, drop the belly for cow pose. Gaze comes forwards. The outer shoulders draw back. The inner elbows draw forwards. The collarbones start to broaden. Take a moment here to feel this backward bend shape. And then on your next exhale, reverse, round the back, push the shoulder blades away from each other as we make our way into a cat pose. And now let's flow. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, round the back. Inhale, drop the belly. Feel that spinal flexion. And then exhale, round the back, separating each individual vertebrae, drawing the chin towards the chest. One more time, inhale. Exhale, round the back. From here, let's find our way back into a neutral table. Walk the hands forward slightly. Step the feet to the back of the yoga mat. And then send the hips to the sky as we make our way into a downward facing dog. And for your first downward facing dog of the practice, feel free to move around in any way that feels good. I always like to pedal out my heels left and right. Maybe move the hips around. Just use this as an opportunity to check in, figure things out, scan the terrain of your body. Whatever's there, don't meet it with resistance, don't work against it, but work with it. This practice is really all about working with ourselves rather than against ourselves. Slow down any movement. Let's arrive in stillness here in this downward facing dog. Spread the fingers nice and wide, push into the palms, lift the hips up high. And if the back of those legs feel tight, put a slight bend into the knees and focus on drawing the heels down towards the ground. And if your heels don't touch the floor in this downward facing dog, then don't worry about it. It took me about 2 years of practicing yoga every single day before I could bring my heels down to the floor in a downward facing dog. Nice work, everybody. Inhale, reach those hips back as far as you can. And then exhale, walk the feet forwards in between the hands as we make our way into a forward fold at the front of the yoga mat. Try and keep those feet hip width apart. And again, if you need to put a bend into those knees to find comfort here, then feel free to do so. We want to focus on getting the fingertips or the palms down to the ground in this pose. So if you can't do that with completely straight legs, then just bend the knees until you can bring the palms down to the floor. Allow that upper body to be heavy. Breathe into the back of those hamstrings. And then on your next inhale, come onto the fingertips, lift the chest up halfway, maybe bring the hands to the knees for a halfway lift. Trying to find a nice flat back shape. And then exhale, forward fold. 2 more times. Inhale, lift the chest, fingertips or knees. Exhale, dissolve over those legs. 1 more time. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, forward fold. Put a slight bend into those knees. And then inhale, stand up, circle the hands all the way up to the sky. And then exhale, bring the hands down to heart center. Inhale, circle those hands up, anchor down through those heels. Root into the ground. And then exhale, bring the hands down to prayer. 1 more time. Inhale, fingertips reach. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest, fingers or knees. And then as you exhale, place the hands back down, step the feet back into a plank pose just for a moment. Tuck the tailbone, engage the core. Drop the knees down to the ground. Untuck the toes and slowly start to bend the arms and lower the chest down to the floor. Reach those toes back. Make sure the hands are beneath the shoulders. And then as you inhale, lift the chest up to your own degree for a baby cobra. Try to squeeze those shoulder blades together. And then squeeze the glutes together as well. So squeeze your bum cheeks. And then exhale, tuck the toes. Send the hips to the sky. Downward facing dog. Great work so far, everybody. On your next inhale, we're slowly going to lift the right foot off the ground so the leg is parallel to the floor. And don't worry about how high you can lift it. Just focus on the straightness of that right leg. Try to keep those right toes pointing down towards the ground. Let's take 1 more inhale here. And then exhale, draw the right knee towards the chest. And then place the foot in between the hands. Maybe you need to come onto the fingertips to do so. Drop the left knee down to the ground. Untuck the left toes, and then bring those hands up on top of the right thigh, just behind the right knee, as we make our way into a low lunge position. Stay nice and strong in the back of that left leg, so engage the left hamstring, and begin to bend deeper into that right knee as we open up the inside of that left leg, the left hip flexor. And if you feel comfortable here in the legs, you can start to circle the hands up to the sky, the palms face each other. Imagining you're holding a heavy round object up above your head to keep the shoulders engaged. Let's take an inhale here, reach those fingertips nice and high, drop those hips low, and then exhale, drop the hands down to the ground to frame the right foot. Slowly start to straighten that right leg. Point the right toes towards you and begin to fold forward and down as we make our way into a half split, giving the whole back line of that right leg just a nice deep stretch. And if you have sensitive knees, remember to keep a slight bend in that right knee to avoid any hyperextension. We're looking for length and durability in all these poses, but we want to make sure that that length is coming from the muscles and not from the joints. Dig that right heel into the floor and then gently just pull that right hip back to find a bit more length. Nice work, everybody. Rebend the right knee. Drop the right foot down to the ground as we make our way back into that low lunge position. Keep the hands on the ground for now. Start to draw the left heel towards the left bum cheek, and then rotate the left leg and drop the left foot down to the ground so the left foot lands just off the right side of the yoga mat, and then making sure that that right knee is stacked above the right heel, and then circle the hands up to shoulder height as we make our way into a modified warrior 2 Virabhadrasana. So the hands are at shoulder height, the gaze comes over that right middle finger, and try and keep those hips neutral with each other. Bring the gaze down to the right big toe and make sure you can see it inside the right knee, just to ensure that the knee is tracking in the same direction as the foot. Flip the right hand up to the ceiling so the right palm faces up, and then begin to reach the left hand down to the left leg, maybe the left calf, or maybe bring the fingertips all the way down to the floor as you reach the right hand up and over the head. And again, just like we did at the start of practice, breathe into that right side body. As you inhale, bring the hands back to shoulder height, gaze comes over that right middle finger, and then drop the right hand down to the ground outside the right foot, or maybe grab one of those yoga blocks to place the hands down on top of, and reach the left hand up to the sky. Just gently pulling that left hand back, encouraging that subtle rotation within the torso. On your next inhale, bring those hands back to shoulder height, warrior 2 position, and then bring the hands down to frame the right foot. Rotate that left leg back so you're in a low lunge position. Tuck the toes under, lift the left knee off the ground, and begin to shift the weight forwards into that right foot. Maybe walk the hands forward slightly, and let that left leg float up to the sky, with all the toes pointing down towards the ground. And again, don't worry about how high your leg is, just make sure it's nice and straight. And now for this next transition, see if you can challenge yourself to not allow that left foot to touch the ground, As we take an inhale here, and then exhale, slowly start to stand up and draw the left knee towards the chest. Bring the hands to heart center. I'm going to rotate on the yoga mat so you can see me, but you stay where you are. So that left knee is drawing towards the chest. And then we're going to make our way into a tree pose. So you can bring the left foot down to the right calf. And then bring the hands to heart center. Feel the balance through that right foot. And if you want to challenge yourself even more, maybe you can bring that left foot up to the inside of the right thigh. And then bring the hands back to heart center. Feel that rapport down through the right foot into the floor. And then bring your gaze to one point in front of you, which is going to grant you focus, balance, and stability. This is called your drishti in yoga. Great work, everybody. On your next inhale, wherever you are, float those hands up to the sky, and then drop the left foot down to meet the right. I'm going to rotate again, so I'm facing forwards. And then exhale, forward fold, down to the floor. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, step back into a plank pose. And then either dropping the knees down to the ground or keeping them lifted, slowly start to bend the arms and lower down to the floor. Inhale, lift the chest, cobra pose, reach those toes back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then exhale, tuck the toes, find your way back into a downward facing dog. Take a huge inhale through the nose. And then exhale out the mouth, let it go. And now we're going to move through that same sequence on the opposite side. So as you inhale, slowly lift the left foot off the ground, just until it comes to about parallel to the floor with the left toes pointing down. And then as you exhale, draw the left knee to the chest, place the left foot down to the ground, drop the right knee down to the floor, untuck those right toes, and then bring those hands on top of the left thigh as you find your low lunge position. Send those hips forwards and down. Engage the back of that right leg. Feel the inside of the right leg start to open up. And then maybe float the hands up to the sky on an inhale. Let's take one more inhale here. Reach those fingertips up as high as you can. And then exhale, hands come down to the yoga mat, frame the left foot, and then straighten that left leg, balancing on the right knee and the right toes. Point the left toes towards you. And then fold forward and down, dropping the head as close to the left shin as you can. Just keeping a slight bend in that left knee. And then just sink into this pose. Breathe into the whole back line of that left leg. Feel that left hamstring becoming subtle and open. Dig that left heel into the ground. Gently pull that left hip back. And then rebend the left knee. Left foot comes down to the ground. Draw the right heel towards the right bum cheek. Rotate the right leg so the right foot comes off the left side of the yoga mat. And then gracefully inhale those hands to shoulder height for this modified warrior two position. Gaze comes over that left middle finger. Allow those shoulder blades to relax down the spine. And sink a bit deeper into that left thigh. Just making sure that the left knee is tracking in the same direction as the left foot. Rotate the left palm up to the ceiling. And then begin to reach down to the right, grabbing onto whatever you can, going to your own degree, and then reach the left fingers up and over the heads. Gaze comes up to the sky. And every pose in yoga has an anchor. And right now that anchor is our left hip. And from that anchor, we are reaching away the left fingertips and the left shoulder. So we try to encourage more space in the body for that breath to channel into. Beautiful work, everybody. As you inhale, slowly bring those hands back up to shoulder height. Gaze comes over the left middle finger. And then drop the left hand down to the floor outside the left foot or onto a yoga block. And reach the right hand up to the sky. Trying to encourage a subtle rotation in the torso. Maybe reach the right fingertips up and over the head. Let's take one more inhale here. And then circle the hands back up to shoulder height. One more breath in this warrior two position. And then exhale, hands down to frame the left foot. Rotate the right foot to the back of the yoga mat. Tuck the right toes under. Lift the right knee off the ground. And begin to shift forwards into that left foot. Walk the hands forward slightly. And then begin to float that right leg up to the sky. Just trying to keep those hips level with each other. Stay on the fingertips. Put a slight bend into our left knee. And then we're going to transition into a one-legged standing pose, just like we did on the other side. Take one more inhale breath here. And then exhale, bend the left knee. Slowly start to stand up. Draw that right knee towards the chest. And then find your version of a tree pose. Placing that right foot down to the left calf or the inside of the left thigh. Bring the hands together in front of the chest. And bring your gaze and your attention to one point in front of you. Anchor down through that left foot. Stand up nice and tall. Get long through the spine. Maybe try to gently pull that right knee back slightly to open up the right hip. And remember, if you fall, if you wobble, if you lose your balance, that's just part of the practice. Even I fall out of these poses sometimes, and I've been doing yoga for years. So if you fall, just treat yourself with kindness, and then come back to the pose and try again. On your next inhale, let's float the hands up to the sky, and drop the right foot down to the ground, and forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest. And then exhale, step back into a plank pose, either keeping the knees lifted or drop the knees down to the ground. Bend the arms slowly, lower the belly down to the floor. Inhale, lift the chest, untuck the toes, cobra pose, or maybe allow the legs to lift off the ground so the tops of the feet are the only thing touching the floor, as well as your palms. Engage the glutes. Allow that heart to draw forwards. And then exhale, using the muscles within your core, send the hips to the sky for a downward facing dog. Let's take one more inhale breath here. And then exhale out the mouth, let it go. Drop the knees down to the ground. Untuck the toes. Send the hips back for a child's pose. Allow the belly to sink in between those hips. And then for a moment, just notice the breath. And how with each inhale, those lungs expand into the inner thighs. And with each exhale, maybe you can relieve some of that tension within the lower back as the belly and the spine sink down towards the ground. From this child's pose, let's shift back forwards into a tabletop. Tuck the toes under and send the hips to the sky. And now we're going to move through a nice gentle sequence where we move through a downward facing dog, a tabletop pose, a cow pose, and a child's pose. But as you do so, can you see if you can connect each individual movement to one inhale and one exhale as we embody the meaning of Vinyasa, the marriage of breath and movements. So breathing through the nose, take an inhale here in downward facing dog. And then exhale, slowly lower the knees down to the ground, untuck the toes, and then inhale, drop the belly for a cow pose. Exhale, bring the big toes together and slowly send the hips back. Drop the head down to the floor gently for a child's pose. And then inhale, move back forwards into a tabletop. Tuck the toes under. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, drop the knees down to the ground and untuck the toes. Inhale, drop the belly, cow pose. Exhale, child's pose. Drop those hips back. Inhale, move forwards into a tabletop. Exhale, tuck the toes, send the hips to the sky. Let's do that sequence one more time. Take an inhale here. Exhale, drop the knees down to the ground. Roll through the spine forwards. Untuck the toes. Inhale, drop the belly. Backward bend. Exhale, send the hips back. Gently rest the forehead to the floor. And then inhale, move back into a tabletop. Tuck the toes under. Downward facing dog. Take an inhale here. Fill the lungs all the way up. And then exhale out the mouth. Just let it all go. Great work, everybody. Let's take one more inhale here in a downward facing dog. And then as we exhale, we're going to walk the feet forwards outside the hands this time. So slowly walk those feet forwards. Turn the toes out, turn the heels in. And then gently begin to squat down in between those hips. And if you struggle to sit in a deep squat, then you can grab your yoga blocks and place them beneath the hips just to give you a bit more support. Maybe bring those hands together, pushing those elbows into the inside of the knees. Try and elevate that chest nice and tall. Get long through the spine. As we sit down deep into this Malasana yogi squat, which is such a natural position for the body to be in. But unfortunately, for a lot of us, because of things like desk jobs, long commutes, and relatively stagnant lifestyles, we slowly lose the ability to sit down in deep squats. Even though it's a supernatural, healthy position for the body to be in. Just being able to sit in a squat like this for a few minutes a day will help to alleviate back pain, tension within the hips. It's great for the knees, it's great for the ankles. And the only way that we can get ourselves back into this natural position if we've lost touch with this pose is to simply just spend more time in it. Which is why I've spent the last 2 minutes or so speaking to you in a deep squat. From this deep squat position, if you have a yoga block beneath the hips, remove the yoga block, bring the hands down to the floor, and then slowly drop the bum all the way down to the ground. Extend the legs out in front of you. Bring the hands beside the hips. Elevate the chest nice and tall for Tadasana, staff pose. And then bend the right knee, either placing the right foot on the inside of the left calf or the inside of the left thigh, just like we did in a tree pose earlier. Straighten that left leg, point the left toes towards you, circle the hands up to the sky on an inhale, and then exhale, begin to fold forwards over the left shin. And then maybe you can walk those hands forwards even further. Bring the right hand to the outside of the left foot. And just gently begin to pull yourself deeper into the pose as your forehead draws down towards the left shin. So we're getting a nice stretch through the whole back line of that left leg. And you should also feel this in the right side of the body, deep into that right hip and the right glutes. Try and bring the gaze under the right armpits if you're holding on to the bottom of the left foot. Remember that comparison is the thief of joy. So you might be looking at me in this pose and I'm pretty deep into it. But I've been doing yoga for a long time, so you might be all the way up here and this might be enough for you to feel the stretch. And that's perfect. As long as you feel it in your body, then you're doing yoga to your own degree, which is the whole point of the practice. Slowly release. Let's walk those hands back. Lift the chest up. Straighten the right leg so the right foot comes forwards to meet the left. Take an inhale here just to neutralize the spine. And then start to bend that left leg, either placing the left foot on top of the right calf or inside that right thigh. Readjust, anchor down through that left hip, and then take an inhale, reach the hands up to the sky, and then exhale, begin to fold forwards over the right leg, bring the hands down to the ground, exploring the depths of your body. Maybe begin to walk the hands forwards. Maybe you can grab onto the bottom of that right foot with the left hand. And if so, then maybe you can bring that gaze underneath the left armpits to encourage a subtle twist. And then if you notice that the breath becomes constricted and restricted in a pose like this, then see if you can bring it back to those deep, full inhales and exhales. Because it's that deep rhythmic breathing that's going to help to erode the tension away and allow you to sink deeper into these poses and channel the breath into every single fiber in the body, stimulating blood flow and circulation. And with circulation, we get regeneration, and then we begin to heal on a cellular level. Slowly make your way out of the pose. Walk the hands back towards the hips. Straighten that left leg. So the left foot comes to meet the right. Shift the hips forwards. And then lower down onto your back. Draw the knees into the chest. Take a nice deep inhale. And then open the knees. maybe grab onto the back of the hamstrings, or if you can reach the bottom of your feet, go ahead and do so. Begin to straighten those legs slightly, opening the hips and drawing the knees towards the armpits for a happy baby pose. And if you want to play around with this pose, maybe you can try straightening one leg at a time. Just trying to keep those hips super relaxed and subtle. Maybe you can even straighten both of the legs slightly. Let's release out of happy baby. Draw the knees back into the chest. Grab onto the shins and begin to rock forwards and backwards. And then cross the feet on top of each other and roll forwards into a comfortable seated position with the legs crossed at the top of the yoga mats. And then we can go ahead and grab our pillow or our bolster or our yoga blocks. Place whatever it is you choose to sit on beneath the hips. And then find your way into a nice, tall, seated position. Close down the eyes. Place the hands down on top of the knees, wherever's comfortable. And then just sink into whatever it is that you're feeling. Scan the body. Notice how the body feels. Hopefully now the body is starting to feel more open, more rejuvenated and more relaxed, so that we can move into the breathwork and meditation section of the practice. And for today's breathwork, we're going to be doing pause breath or box breathing. And it's pretty simple. What we're going to do is inhale through the nose for a count of 4. Hold at the top of the inhale for a count of 4. Exhale for another count of 4. And then hold at the bottom of the exhale for another 4 seconds. But just to make sure that we're all on the same rhythm, all together, let's take a deep inhale through the nose. Start to fill those lungs all the way up to capacity. Hold at the top for a second or so, and then exhale out the mouth. Let it go. And now let's begin. Inhale for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top of the inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale through the nose. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the bottom. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's add an extra second. So inhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then continue at your own pace, either with that 5-second count, or if that's too intense, bring it back down to a 4-second or a 3-second count. It's all good, just pay attention. Listen to your body. But as you inhale, can you really draw that oxygen as deep into the lungs as you can? And when you hold at the top of those inhales, maybe you can feel that oxygen moving from the lungs up towards the heart and then up towards the head. And then as you exhale, the reverse happens. It moves from the head to the heart to the bottom of the lungs as you release all that carbon dioxide. Let your next full inhale be your last of this breathing exercise. So fill those lungs all the way up. And then hold at the top of the inhale. Feel that oxygen move from the lungs, through the heart, all the way up to the brain. As all those cells within the head get oxygenated. And then exhale out the mouth. Let everything go. Keeping those eyes closed, seal the lips, and let go of controlling the breath. Come back to that natural rhythm, uncontrolled and free of any kind of restrictions. Continue to sit up nice and tall, and then I invite you to feel. Feel the ground beneath you, the support from the earth beneath the hips, the softness of the cushion that you're sitting on, any sensations that the body might be relaying to you. And then just sink into whatever you're feeling without any resistance, without working against it, because whatever's there is probably there for a good reason. So allow the feel to override the think. And then come back to the breath, almost like a hypnotic trance, pulling you deeper and deeper into the present moment. And it's that deep focus on this inhale and this exhale that's going to allow the mind to become clear. No place to go because you're exactly where you need to be. Nothing to worry about, nothing to see. Just this inhale and this exhale. And then if you're anything like me, it won't take too long for those thoughts to creep back in. And this is where you become the observer. Rather than reacting to those thoughts, you observe, you acknowledge that they came, and you accept that they went. And then you come back to the breath. This inhale and this exhale. Become the observer, the one who watches, the one who sits still through the eye of the storm. Okay, everybody, wherever you are, continue to follow your breath deep into your meditation and feel free to stay here for another 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to bring today's class to an end in about 60 seconds. So thank you for practicing with me today. I'll see you on the mat again soon. And as always, Namaste.